Welcome back to Grilling with Milton. I want to sit back and show you the last part of our chicken wings. They're almost done and ready to be prepared. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and put a little barbecue sauce on our chicken wings. I try to do this within the last 5 minutes of having them on the grill because, of course, if you put anything that's liquid on your chicken or on your barbecuing food, of course it's going to char very quickly. So what I try to do is I only put a light coat on one side. I don't flip it and put another coat on the other side because that residue will get onto the grill, and if I'm putting more meat on, of course that's going to still be on the grill unless we clean it off. It's just a messy process. So what you want to do is just lightly dap one side of your wings, and then you put your hood back down and allow that another 5 to 7 minutes. I try to do no longer than 7 minutes, and let that cook in there and let that flavor get in there. And then once we take and transfer our chicken into our pan, we're gonna once again lightly barbecue sauce them again so they can have that fresh, hot off the grill barbecue sauce taste. The sauce that I'm actually using is actually a barbecue sauce mixture. I have 1 part open pit, 1 part mango, 1 part onions, a teaspoon of diced garlic, and of course a little bit of Cajun seasoning and oregano and just a dab of garlic powder. And we of course we mix that all up and we get our barbecue sauce prepared, which we have right here in our bowl next to our grill, ready for preparation. And I usually use either a brush. If you don't have a brush, you can always use a paper towel. It's a little outside of cooking etiquette, but you can use a paper towel and just lightly dab it with the barbecue sauce and lightly go over your chicken. Or you can use something like a wooden baser, something of this nature, and you can take your barbecue sauce. Of course, you want to stir it so you can get all the contents freshly mixing, and you want to lightly brush, and try not to get any of the barbecue sauce into the fire, especially if you're going to be cooking something else, because you don't want to cool your fire or simmer it up with any kind of offset liquids. So this right here, like I said, is gonna retain a lot of the flavor and put it right into the chicken. The chicken's still moist and juicy because we have the hood down on our grill. And usually, what I tell people, because a lot of people they'll do this and they got these short utensils when they're doing this, and it gets very hot to kind of put your hand over the grill. What I try to tell people is, this is the point in time where you want to use your indirect heat on the grill. Try to centralize all your chicken and have it in the indirect heated area on the grill. That way it's a little bit cooler when you're going in to, lightly season up your wings. So even if I actually have meat all over the grill, I can still work that indirect level where the charcoal's not at and where the fire's not at, and kind of have my hand over that part of the grill and base, and then so forth, turn and do the same thing. This is just a safety technique because you don't want to get burned when you're out here trying to get you some good food on the grill. So it's kind of a safety technique that I kind of use to prevent so much heat hitting my hand, and of course dropping the utensil into the fire, or of course spilling the whole contents of my barbecue sauce, which I have done on many occasions as an amateur in barbecuing. I think we were all there before. But if you're watching Grillen with Milton, of course you're not an amateur, you're a pro. Well, and if you're not a pro, you're going to be one. Guaranteed. Okay, so now we're getting this all kind of across the grill. And this sauce, oh man, this sauce is phenomenal. The mango adds a sweet taste to this particular sauce, and definitely good for this season. You get mangoes really cheap right now, and you can use a mincer, which I use for this particular mixture, because a mincer gets the mango nice and fine, and what it does is it allows people not to be able to pick up distinctly on the big chunks. So you got big chunks of mango in your sauce. Of course, they're gonna say, "Oh, what's this fruit you got in here?" But if you mince it really good, it'll almost turn into like a slushy juice. And that's when you know it's minced right. And then that particular point, you want to put that right into your barbecue sauce and start mixing it. And once you mix your barbecue sauce, of course, you want to let this sit. And also another ingredient that you can put in here if it's a little bit too bitter for you, if it's a little bit, just not that over the top sweet, you can throw a little bit of honey in here. But you have to remember that honey is very sticky. So you don't want to overuse the ingredient. You just want to put it just to make it over the top sweet enough for you, because it's supposed to be a sweet barbecue sauce. And believe me when I tell you, it's definitely a sweet barbecue sauce. It's wonderful. I actually use this barbecue sauce for oven cooking as well. So it turns out pretty good. So now we got all of our chicken pretty much lightly doused with our barbecue sauce. And as you can see, my fire is not hot. It's not flaring up at me upon putting my barbecue sauce on, and that's because, like I said, I have the indirect heat is actually allowing all of that heat to kind of suck in and filtrate out. And it's a good process when you're cooking food that takes a long time to cook. In our particular case, chicken. So we have our barbecue sauce on the grill. Chicken is on here. We're going to leave this on here, let it sit for about 5 more minutes, for anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, depending on how things are looking. And once we open this up, it's going to be ready to go, and we're going to be ready to eat some good, excellent chicken wings that you've seen here today on Grilling with Milton. Stay tuned. We'll show you the finished process, and we'll take a bite into this, and we'll move on to our next portion of meat that we're going to pop on the grill. Thanks for watching.